Then I'll keep the live thing right there. And then she will help us.
So I don't need to get that right, just yeah.
Everything. You can, but mainly this. But we're still gonna use it. Nice. And let's see if it does it. Alright, you guys got a group message? You guys got a group message link?
A group message, sorry?
Yeah. Did you guys get a group message on your phone?
No.
Not yet?
No.
I'll send it to Brock as well. I'll send it to you. Yeah, I'll send it to you as well. 3, 10, 65, 9, beautiful. And then you can get real close up with those. Walk around. As much motion as possible. And then this could be the secondary station, mainly to get them. And then here, you know.
Yep, that works.
Beautiful.
Yep, awesome. I sent it to everybody.
Oh wow.
Right?
Yeah, I like
We get technical.
I'm surprised. Surprise myself sometimes.
That's awesome.
Alright guys, so thank you guys for coming. Third week, 3 or 4. How you guys doing? Good. So about half the class has a rainy issues that week. We also had a bad accident, so prayers to them. Not too bad though, just an accident, but it happens, right? But other than that, we are here. We're gonna actually get hands-on, start building this full PC, trying to get it from this to actually turning on and powering. If we do not get that far, we'll just finish up the next time, and then we're gonna test you guys doing it on your own as well on next class. But essentially, what we got and what we're going to do is build this bad boy. We're gonna move it around to, or probably just have you guys come right there, and then we'll just move the table up because we don't have as many people as we thought. And then we'll just move this to the left so you guys can all get a hand and see it. And then we're gonna go literally from the steps we explained, building this.
You can come up here.
Yeah, you all come
Up
up.
there, you got up there, that's great.
This.
Carry
this table
Carry,
back
you
there?
can grab one of those chairs and bring it right here.
You want to move this table back and move forward?
Yeah, that'd be good. This way.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Beautiful. So everybody get them down. Okay, you could split up. Over here.
You wanna go
Yeah, you
there?
can still go your dad.
No.
You're
You
okay.
don't feel lonely?
I got this key. Right there.
Oh, okay.
Close up. Beautiful. You wanna come closer as well?
Wait, let me come
You wanna come right here? Okay. Cool. Alright, let's get it, baby.
Alright, so welcome everyone. So first things first, we are gonna start by setting up our PC with our motherboard. So
While you get that unboxed, let's do a quick quiz. So, what's the first couple things we need when we start doing PC building? A body, right? So a tower, mid, small, heavy, extra large. It all depends on your preference, how big you're gonna go. Then what's the next thing? Once we buy our tower, what's the next step?
Motherboard?
Motherboard, right? So we put that motherboard in. Once we put that motherboard in, we gotta start connecting a few things to the motherboard. What do we start connecting? Nope. You said 2 different things. CPU and graphics card. Which one is it?
CPU.
Nope. It is. It's CPU. It's a processor. Perfect. It's a CPU. It's a processor. I like it. And what faces? It's beautiful. Yep. Just a processor on a thermal paste. We put the 4 in. It also comes with the fan as well. And then what's the next step? Once we put our processor on the motherboard. The RAM. Nice. The RAM is nice. You can put the graphics card as well. But it's good to go ahead and slip that RAM in there right by the processor, knock it out. 2 little strips. You're gonna put it in the first and the third slot. Remember, not the first and second, not the third and fourth, not the first and fourth. The slots equalize at 1 and 3, and 2 and 4 if you wanna upgrade it to 64 RAM. What's the next thing we got? How you doing? Welcome. We're just doing a recap. Today we're gonna be building this bad boy, powering it on. Yes. Graphics card. When the graphics card works, we can get the graphics card. We can also after that do what? We got the graphics card. We got the RAM. Storage is last. We don't really need the extra storage. Unless you want to add an internal storage, which is the SSD. That power supply, you have to turn that bad boy on. One. Where was it? 1, 2, or 2. These are both the same thing. And then we went on ahead and said 3, 4, 5, 6. Then our battery. Put all that together with 2 more steps, and we have a total of a nice PC. Thank you guys for joining again live. Beautiful. All right, let's get it.
So, while I continue, I'm going to explain that I just put on my safety harness so that it allows for the static not to affect the motherboard and building of the process, so that we don't short out any of the parts and can still use them. So, what's the next part we're going to use and apply to the motherboard? Would anyone like to volunteer? Yes, miss?
You said you needed the CPU.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab it right now and put it right on there.
You guys for all the commercials, we start putting in the parts in and out. So zoom in if you guys want, scoot up. Actually look at it, students. Literally get close.
Yeah, don't be shy. So, one thing I do is I take off the brackets on the motherboard. You don't have to use a lot of pressure when you're taking off these little parts. You just use enough so that
Is the motherboard easy to break?
it can. When you're being careful with it and cautious, you're not gonna really break anything. So there's no really need to be too alarmed. And like that. That piece comes off.
No, that's not easy to screw. No forcing, no stretching.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that
no stripping at all.
Yeah, you don't want to strip any of it. That would not be a happy day. All right, so all the brackets are out, and now, very carefully, apply our CPU unit. And all you do is you take this silver lever right here, and you just bring it up, and that's that.
You remember the thermal paste? So we don't have to add thermal paste on the CPU. It came with it, which is
We'll get to that in a moment.
okie dokie.
And then, so there's a small little arrow right here in the bottom left, and it's gonna line up with our CPU unit that also has an arrow on the bottom left. It's a small silver arrow, and once we line them up, we just place it in and slowly, without any pressure, just snap it in. And when you hear that snap, you know that it's in.
Secure.
Right. So, what would be our next part we apply? Yes, miss?
The fan that goes on top of it.
Right, the CPU cooler. So we're gonna go in here and bring it on out.
Very nice.
And place that right there and voila. So there you go. You see our CPU cooler. This is a basic model with our thermal paste on the back already ready for us to use. So we just apply it and we will be ready. So when applying it, I just sit it right on there. So it seats into the grooves where I removed the brackets from earlier. And
you
then,
had to screw it back on.
right. So now I just take my screwdriver and I turn it 5 times just so that I can, once I tighten this piece, I go diagonally across and apply even pressure to each side. So see, it's on. It's just not on so tight to where I can evenly apply for the rest of the screws. All right, so that's 5 on each side in a diagonal fashion. And now I just tighten on the rest. And you undo it just when it stops. So you put on a snug fit. Boom.
Yeah, and that's usually how strip starts when it's uneven. You try to put the last screw in and it's tilted tight. You know, you start stripping it away. Very good.
All right, snug fit. So would anyone like to see how snug it is, sir? Oh, I'm gonna get right
Why
to
do you
you.
guys test
Yeah, let's have everyone just like, so go ahead. Just pull on it just a little bit. You can
Lift
see
it up. Lift it up.
you're able to lift it. That you're going to be able to grab it from the cooler and apply it into the motherboard.
You guys are
Just go
doing
ahead.
it all on your own. Get a good hands-on.
Yeah.
Grip it, the weights.
Heavy.
Heavy, right? Would you like to try? And you're just lifting it just like that. So you see, it's on, it's secure, and you know it's there. There you go. All right. So, what would come next?
You guys want to go up as well?
Yeah, come on up.
Come on up.
Don't be shy.
Check it.
Pretty heavy, huh?
Surprisingly heavy.
Yeah. And as you put on more custom parts, let's say you want to put on a different CPU cooler, the motherboard as a whole will get more heavy. So depending on what you want and what you want to buy as a cooler option, you can apply it onto your motherboard and the motherboard will be able to handle it. So now for our next part, what would it be?
Attachment.
Remember our notes.
A
Not in
GPU?
particular order.
Not the GPU
Oh, wait, no.
just yet.
CPU.
RAM?
RAM. So
Remember, this is our CPU.
yeah, we just applied the
Oh, yeah.
CPU and our CPU cooler. So now we're gonna go over here, grab our lovely Vengeance, and apply those sticks inside.
Yes. Now, while he unpacked it, what does the RAM do? What are the functions of the RAM?
To make things run faster? I don't know, for
They
storage.
allow you to run multiple things at the same time without getting very slow.
Any other add-ons? Both is correct. Yep. Allows you to run multiple things, allow things to run faster. Once you decide to load things up, it won't take too long. So for example, you loading up the web browser straight off of a 32 RAM compared to an 8 gig RAM will load up in about 0.5 seconds compared to 7 or even 10. And then you can run multiple of those. So RAM is beautiful. More RAM,
More
the more
power.
stuff.
So now, as we are preparing to apply the RAM sticks on, we're gonna make sure that we move back these security flaps so that they're open and available. So once I grab my first stick, I'm gonna put in the second slot back here. And I'm just gonna make sure it fits right in nicely. And then with some pressure, not a whole lot, all you're gonna do is take your thumbs, and once you hear the snap, it's in. And you just wanna be sure that each side is just a little pressure.
Do you put the little safety thing back on?
Yes. Once they're both in, I will reapply them. And you wanna use the second and fourth slots if you just have an incomplete 4 for your motherboard. When you have all 4, you just throw them all in. And then 1, 2, and then. So if it's not going in right, you just make sure. Oh. There we go.
A good way also, check it out real quick. A good way to double check for that issue is the teeth. So everybody come closer. The teeth isn't quite even on 50-50, right? And what I mean by teeth is, you pick it up real quick.
The gold part?
Yep,
Right.
this empty part right here. So it's about a 65-35, right? You see a little bit more here than that. That's also one way you can tell on the teeth of the inputs of the pins, right? So, bam. Make sure the teeth is aligned with the same teeth. And then it's just snap on.
And like the open part is where the middle part
Yep.
right there is.
You gotta get like that 50% even in.
Snap. Yep, and that's secure. And now, are we ready for our next step?
Now we are.
Yeah, now next step would be what?
The GPU? I know.
Not the GPU just yet.
Yeah.
Here's all of our band reminders.
So we've gone through our motherboard, our CPU cooler, and our RAM
Power supply?
power supply. So now that means we have to prep our case. Could you please? Thank you. So we're going to take this. And put that right over there. Put that here. And all we're going to do is start taking apart.
And after 1 or 2 computers, you guys see how easy this is, and now you guys can practice and learn this skill. And save some money, you know, around a family, knock out their PCs real quick.
And while you're doing it as well, what you want to do is make sure you put all the screws in a nice spot that you'll remember where they are so that you can have easy access to them when you're putting everything back together. So I take all
Now, see, as that, what does the power supply do? What's the main purpose of the power supply? Yes, yes.
Just to make sure that the PC turns on, because it won't turn on unless you have the power supply.
And what are your thoughts? What if we don't have enough watts on the power supply? That's a trick question. I just threw that in there.
It won't function properly.
It won't even power up. So we have a medium or medium to small face. Say we had a small PC power cable or just a power cable that didn't even have 2,500 watts, I believe. It wouldn't even turn on. It wouldn't even power up at all. But yeah, the power supply just lets everything actually power on. I'm just gonna sit at the bottom like an engine, and then yeah.
And now you see, this is what it looks like, what you're dealing with. So, while we are here in this state, what we're gonna do is put in our power supply unit. And that involves taking everything out, popping some wonderful bubble wrap, and here's our there you go. All right. And these right here. So here we have our power supply, and because everything comes in a way where all the cords are already built in, we don't have to worry about plugging them in separately. Other power supplies would have pins and connectors to where you'd have to force them in. Here is just they're already made for you just to use, and you just plug and go into the motherboard.
Nice.
So,
Where is it? I forgot where the power supply goes. Does it go right here at the bottom?
yes, it actually does. Thank you for that. Because now I will take it, put it right in there.
Now, how do you know if it's the right direction? And you don't have to rotate it.
Well,
Oh, and the switch is facing outwards.
thank you for that. There you go. So now you know, yeah, you have your switch just like that, facing outwards. Now let me take a quick moment. see how all this was bundled up with it. So this is what you're gonna have to,
Zip tie.
right, you can zip tie these together, so that's why it came with the,
Oh, zip tie.
right, it came with its own that was there to bundle it together. So usually what you do to keep it neat, it would be to use a bunch of separate zip ties, like this example here, and you just keep zip tying them. So the more zip ties you place on it, the neater it is.
That
And that,
sounds like a lot of work, though.
it's a little tedious, it's, you know, for the sake of what you want it to look like,
Unless you want
it's
the
worth
wires
it.
everywhere and there's fires, you won't have one, you know. That'd be tough.
So take off the little plastics. Make sure no more plastic. And, all right, we will. Put this thing.
Welcome. Let's get it, brother. Slow as okay? You're okay. Yeah, you're super okay.
The boys is there, and the boys will show up.
Okay. And then, what's your lunch there?
Just make sure you're sitting somewhere you can see.
All right, brother.
Feel free to come up
You
front.
too. You too. Go up front. Appreciate it. Good.
There you go. You sit right here. You sit right here. You sit right here. You sit right here. You sit right here.
Here you go, Vicente. Have a seat.
That little long time won't hurt. Yeah, ready for this? So,
So it takes a little working and twerking in there, but once you got it in there, it's
And we're actually
good
gluing
and
it.
there. Now,
right now we're.
is this in the right position?
Yes.
Okay. Now, these flush holes, are they gonna be a issue for me later when it comes time to securing the case?
We already fixed the motherfucker.
I don't think so.
Well,
Ever?
here, let me show you one thing. Right here are some connectors, so you can secure your power supply to the case so that it's a snug fit with the case. And all you would do is go on the bottom, right here, and remove your guard that you have, and then you would plug in, you screw in your screws to secure your power supply.
What does this do?
This prevents dust from going into your power supply unit. So whether I do it like this or like this, it'll be there to guard the fan so that it doesn't collect so much dust. Because dust will come up from the bottom of the case into the bin. So whether it depends. Whether you want it like this or like this, there is something for you on how you want to situate your power supply. There we go. Boom. Alright, and then put this back in. Just like that. And I look in here, and just like that, I have pins here that allow me to screw it in and secure our power supply unit.
I'm going to take that, you can go right next to it.
And easy way to secure it would be to just turn it gently on its side.
It's
So it isn't going to allow me to secure it. So it will just sit right there, and the pin that it has in there will seat it in there.
it's not securing properly.
Right. So if I were to try to fit this in there, it wouldn't sit right there. So these are meant for a specific side of this. Not the bottom. Where would it go then?
On the top.
On the top.
There's no holes.
Right. So where's another location where I can apply these pins? The side. Right here. Boom, 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 boom. Where there are 4 sides made for it right there. You see?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So you see how that might be an issue if you're not too familiar with it and you're just learning it for the first time. You just take your time and you just think of it like a puzzle you gotta solve. And no, you just without trying to strip it, just use enough pressure and boom. Stripping means, so let's say this is intact, right? And if I go further than what I put it in, it will damage the inside area of the screw that I'm trying to screw in, so that it will now start to spiral. Whether I go left or right, it's just stuck in there and it's nothing that I can grab on it with my Phillips head. So you don't want to strip a screw that you're trying to place inside something. You just want to use enough pressure to where it's in there and it's not damaged. And boom, this is on snug. The next one. There it is. Uh-oh. So another issue, sometimes you'll start fighting with screws. And you see how something is going on. So what would you do if you had this issue where a screw would just slip in, slip in, slip in? What would you do?
Well, maybe depending on like where it is, I could move the power supply to where it fits, where I can screw it in, or I could unscrew the other screws and just move it like to the right, or like whatever direction it's not fitting in right, just so that way just to make sure that all the holes align.
Okay. I like the way you think. So I'm just gonna, for the sake of this session, move away from that one, avoid it, and go ahead and screw the other one in. You see how that one just goes right on in? Sometimes you may just have to come back to a slot. Oh, you see that? That right there would have been a situation where I might have stripped the screw. So as long as you're careful, you will not strip a screw. Boom. Now, let's see if this one goes in. And
If you ever have a problem screwing in anything, there's a little technique I learned where basically you put the screw right where the hole is at,
mhm.
and you go in the reverse direction,